Okay, here we are. We're having another G4 Guitar Network gathering. Today we're going to open it up to question time, so we're going to talk about whatever subjects come up. I've always got subjects, of course, to cover if you guys are stuck for questions, but hopefully you will have a few questions you can throw me in. We kind of want to, brainstorm a little bit on things and see, really get some feedback, not just from me, but from you guys to see what you're thinking. This we're having coming up in next week, this same time, will be the mastermind group. It's not a mastermind group. Basically, the difference with a mastermind group is that we're just going to talk about different things that we can do, new developments, if you like, ways to sort of move the business forward, and also look at the future of what's happening technologically. There's a lot of stuff going on which you guys may or may not know about, but the face of learning anything, not just guitar, but is going to change over the next 5, 10, 20 years radically. Even, we know how much it's changed in our lifetime. Certainly in my lifetime, went from where we used to try and work out songs listening to records and, scratching the records with a needle and all sorts of stuff, to cassettes, which were pretty unreliable and used to stretch and change the pitch and all sorts of stuff, to where we are now, where we can go online, look at a YouTube video, look up tab anywhere we like, and it's very easy now. There's so many tools, so you can imagine how much it's going to change, because growth is exponential. So we're going to see it grow, change quite dramatically in the next 10 years. Especially as things like AI, artificial intelligence, come online. And so you're going to have all sorts of things, but we'll talk about that next week, because I think it's a really exciting topic. So, questions. Who's got a question for me?
I've got one. It's been a pretty hectic week, just in terms of stuff going on. But specifically, I've been wondering a little bit about how to just really manage the sort of admin side of things, so that you're not constantly swamped by work. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out a way to be able to just basically to set it up so that I can give it off to a manager at some point, and just have them be able to go like, yep, this is the system. Follow it like this, do it like this, and you'll have no problems. And have them be able to do it in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah.
All right, good. Anyone? This is, like I said, this is going to open up. I'm not just going to answer all the questions here. So I'm just going to see, have you guys got that problem, or have you got any solutions that you'd like to offer to Alex?
I'm pretty much same as Alex, to be honest. I always feel swamped with admin work at the moment, which takes up. I generally do it when I go home at night, so I end up doing admin until about 12 at night. So so solutions would be good.
Okay, all right, good. I've got some solutions for you, so that'll be fine. Ben, is there anything you want to throw in? I can't hear you, Ben. You must, either the microphone's not on or you're muted.
Let me type it in the chat box or something.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. In my previous life, it was similar to the teaching at the job. Isn't the admin side at all, but the admin side takes up so much time, it takes away from the job. The actual teach, whatever it is that you're doing. Although it's not great, Dave, saying doing it at home but I found definitely putting some time aside, to putting a morning aside or a whole day aside if needs be initially, to say I will get all the crap done on this day, and then it's done for the week. And I think then when you employ somebody, it's a case of keeping those processes just as simple as you can. Really step by step simple. So literally, a monkey could do it if
Yep, great.
Simplify it as even if it's a fairly complex process. Break it down into step 1 is this, step 2 is this. Because although because you know your business inside out, you know exactly what to do without even thinking. If you're employing somebody who is a manager and not necessarily a guitar teacher, they won't have a clue about your business, but they still need to be able to organise and delegate and say step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah, exactly. Let's use an example of a very successful business. How do successful businesses do it? When we walk into you guys in the UK have Tesco's, is that right? Like the supermarkets?
Yes.
How do they do it? How did the guy, we go back to the beginning, there was somebody who started Tesco's. Somebody probably had a little shop somewhere. I don't know what the history of Tesco is, but it probably goes back 100 years or something. And someone had a corner store, and now they built it into an empire. I read somewhere that Tesco's takes in something like 10% of the retail sales in the UK amongst all their stores. So how do they do it? How do they get away with it?
For me, they have, everyone has a role. When you walk into Tesco, there's the manager, then there's departments run by companies that are not Tesco, so they'll have like Vodafone or Orange. So there's like businesses within Tesco that operate. And then it just seems that everyone has a role, really. Manager, people behind the counter, staff walking around.
Excellent. So it's kind of, it's a machine almost. It's a well-oiled machine. Everybody is part of that machine, and they play a particular role. So when someone's operating as the cashier, they're not answering phones. You don't go into a Tesco where you will in a small business. You'll see that it's sort of operating the cash register while on the phone, while trying to sort of grab a toilet break or do something else, or And so we see this, but generally, the better the operation, the more specialised each individual becomes. So that's how it works. Now, the question that leads to the question of how do you get from where you are now to get to where you have all that running? Anybody got any answers?
Systematize it, I guess.
Okay. So that is the answer. But how do we get there? How do you systemize your business?
Make sure you know each step that you're doing.
Yep. It sort of goes back to the old joke or whatever of how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it's really the same with your business, is that you need to systemize it one system at a time. Where you feel overwhelmed is because you're not systemizing your businesses. And that's where most people actually get trapped and feel. So I often get, people say to me, how did you manage to run 5 schools and manage so many teachers and have all this stuff, as well as manage having a child and a family and the whole thing? And I said, because I run it on systems, and I'll be the first one to tell you that I don't have the G4 business, my business right now, fully systemized and perfect, no, but I'm building the systems as I go. So each thing I develop a system along the way. So if you look now, for example, at the teacher training, then when a new teacher joins G4, you guys are kind of already through most of those systems that were put in place. But what happens is, as you come through the system, then things like you get taken to a particular website. When you pay, then you see the training. There's a video to watch there. You watch the video, then you start doing the training. You work your way through the training, and then from there, you get a series of automatic emails. And one of the emails says to contact me, and we'll have a chat on a Hangout. So then I get an email from you. I haven't had to send you an email because it's already automatic. So I've got all these systems in place, and I would say that I'm about halfway there, about 50% of the way of developing my systems. So what happens is that by each time that I see something that is done repetitively, then I need to systemize it. The G4 guitar method is a system because you find yourself teaching, especially beginner students, the same stuff again and again and again. This is how you play a C chord. This is how you play a G chord. Let me write it down on a piece of paper for you. And that's what I did in the early stages. I'd literally write out, what I wanted them to do, draw up chords and, tab and whatever that I wanted to learn. But the G4 method was all about creating a system of actually doing that to take all that away. So what we really want to do here, and we can spend a fair bit of time on this, is drill down on the systems that are going to be the most beneficial to you. So the first thing is you can actually draw a couple of two lists. One is a list of systems. You actually put it on an Excel sheet, and what you can do is you draw a list of all the things that you need to systemize, and you can keep adding to this. So it might be, I need my accounts systemized. I might need my induction for new students systemized. I might need doing my someone to do my banking, whatever, anything that you can think, and we'll go through those things. So you write a list of what needs to be done. Then you put in the next column how long you think it will take to actually to design the system. So that then, when you have a look at it, then you can even put a third column where you prioritize it, and you say what are priority A, B, C, D, whatever. Put them in the priorities, and then you sort it. And so the A's all come to the top as your top priority, and then the ones that take the least amount of time in the A's are the first ones you do. You get them out of the way, because you can put them together and maybe in half a day. You can say, I can put a system together for doing whatever it is in half a day, and then it's done. I never have to do it again. Now, I'll give you an example of a system that I created, and that is that I put a system together to build your website. So when you guys come on board, you each get a website, and then there's a whole system that I did. Now, it took me, I don't know, probably a month to end up putting it all together, but I didn't do it all. I didn't take a month off and just work on it. It was, maybe an hour a day. I did for a month, and I put the system together step by step. And then I trained a girl in the Philippines to do it. Now, she turned out to be, unfortunately, unreliable. She was working all day and, was really tired at night, and sometimes was saying she couldn't make it and all this thing, which was great, because you can imagine if I spent all this time training her, but I didn't have the system, that I taught her how to do it all, and then she's no good and leaves. And I'm like, oh God, I put all this time into you, and now you're leaving. That's where the frustration, and I had that early on, where I'd train up people, I'd train up teachers, I'd train up staff, and then they'd leave, and I'd think, oh God, I just spent 6 months and invested thousands of dollars into you, and now you're off. But when you've got the system, it doesn't matter, because the idea is that they come in and they learn the system very quickly. So now I've got Sizer, who's been doing our Twitter for us, which is systemized, by the way. And I just took her through the system I did for making a website, and she just made Ben's, by the way. So that was all done by Sizer, Ben. But basically, I went through that with her in 2 hours. So in 2 hours, she learned the whole system. Done. And it could have been done even quicker, but I just wanted to walk right through it with her, make sure that it got done, because I still had to make a few little changes and do a few things to the system. Your systems often change and develop, of course, but that's basically what I did. Who is the most successful car company in the world? Anyone know?
GM?
Not really. They're in big trouble.
I think you're going for Toyota, aren't you, David?
Toyota, yeah. Toyota are now the #1 in the world, selling more cars than any other company in the world. Toyota is all about systems. That's how they became so successful, and that's Toyota became not just the model for Japan, but the model for Asia, China, Korea, Singapore. All these countries have really modeled themselves off Toyota, and it really comes down to a couple of guys who put it all together, and so the world became systemized. Now, it's not even 1 or 2 people, but it's like the internet wasn't created by 1 or 2 people, even though we can go back to Bernard Lees and say he was the guy that kind of put the web together. He was in contact with other people, and there were probably 10 other people out there who were all going to do it at the same time. It's like electricity, the telephone, TV, all these things were invented, and there were 10 other people putting their hand up at the same time saying, oh, well, we could have done it, but we just missed getting to the patent office on time. But the idea here is that your business is a collection of systems, and if you're working flat out on your business, it's okay to work flat out, no problem, as long as you're working on creating systems most of that time. If you're not spending 80% of your time developing systems within your business, then you're never going to grow your business. So what we want to do is come back, and I'm going to sort of go around all of you one at a time. And I'll just start with you, David, because you raised this topic. What's something, when you're doing admin, what are you actually doing? How do you spend that time?
With my admin accounts, sending emails out for intros, maybe sending emails out to after the intro, you know, for the groups, replying to pupils' emails. Yeah, that's most of my time spent, I guess.
Okay, all right. So what you need to be doing is with your standard procedure of enrolling a student. At the moment, you probably still need to do those things. So I'm not saying there's a difference between abdication and delegation. And what we want to really make sure here that you just don't throw this to somebody else and hope for the best. So you've got to go through the steps that you take to actually process a new student. So let's just break it down into a few steps and just see. So, you know, we don't have to go right into details, but just some broad steps. So I'm on the phone with you and I say, great, yep, sign me up. You know, we start on Monday at 4 o'clock. Where does it go? What's your next step?
Obviously, I've got one here. I fill those inquiry sheets in, so all the details, and then I log those into the computer with a date, a time, and when they're enrolled, and just as you know, sales percentage as well. And then I use MailChimp. It's already systemized on MailChimp. So basically, I log into MailChimp because obviously I can track if they've opened the email up, and then I just edit that, put all the details in, and send that out. Yeah.
Okay. So have you got those steps written down so someone can actually see them?
No, it's all in my head. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've got to write them down, and then you've got to go and find a monkey to teach it to. Okay. Go down to the local zoo, borrow a monkey for the afternoon, and just say, I'm going to teach this monkey to run my business. And then you can do a YouTube video and everyone will think it's funny. But what you've got to do is you've got to be able to give whatever you do to a 14-year-old and say, can you do that for me? Okay? So it's got to be that simple. Yes, Ben?
I'll volunteer to be your monkey, David.
Okay. Well, I was sort of... I don't know if you know this,
I spend ages on my emails, so I'd love to just copy a system and just get it done. Because I write the email, even if I've just copied it in and changed the name and changed the genders, so it's either his or her, if it's your daughter, your son. And then I reread it, and I reread it again, and then I find one mistake, and I'm like, no, wrong. I'd love to just have a MailChimp one that I can just go, does MailChimp have templates that you can change name and gender, and it'll automatically go through the email? You can choose areas that it'll change words. Or is it not quite that fancy?
Basically, I just read through it and edit it myself, really. Yeah.
Okay.
I
wonder if there is a program where you can change the name, change the gender, and it'll just fill it all in. Because I always seem to miss one when I'm going through.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably set it up so the gender is not even required. You know, so you don't have any she or he, you know, you just have, you know, when you come to your lesson, your son, your daughter, you know, you can have just a couple of fields, and then you fill in those fields. But basically, what would happen if you have a full system is, let's say David's doing the sale or you're doing the sale, you fill in that form, then you should be able to just give that form straight to whoever's going to do it, and then they fill in the form online on the internet, and then that automatically then starts the whole ball rolling. Now, I don't know if you guys realise, but in the Philippines you can hire somebody for a couple of dollars an hour to work for you. They'll do whatever you need them to do, and some of them are highly qualified. In the Philippines, they speak very good English. so you don't have any problem communicating with them. And they will have, a lot of them have a lot of computer training because they know this is where the work is, because they're getting work from international work. So the two things that they know are to go and get some kind of computer training and be fluent in English and good, like good customer service, because they're the main jobs that people want them for. See, if we go to, India is okay as well, but the Philippines, the English seems to be, I don't know, probably they have different strengths and weaknesses between the two, but I've mostly been working with people from the Philippines. But what you're, and you don't need to feel guilty or bad about what you're paying them, because for them, the cost of living, and I've spent time in these countries, the cost of living is a lot lower, so they're getting, $5 an hour. It's like you're getting, £15 or £20, because the cost of rent in London or in the UK is very expensive. The cost of rent in Manila is not expensive at all. So it's all relative, but if you hired someone for 2 hours a week, it's a very small amount of money. We're talking, I actually have 2 people who work 10 hours each. So I basically need 20 hours a week, and they do 20 hours worth of work for me. And because I've systemized it, then what would have normally taken me probably longer is now actually, it's probably about 40 or 50 hours worth of work is getting done I'm not doing anything. I'm just paying $10 a week, $5 per hour per employee to get it done. So for 20 hours, it's like $100 a week. It's very, very good value, and it allows you to leverage and grow your business much faster. Now, what you don't want to do is just hire someone and throw things at them. You actually want to have a system that you can give them, that that you've been through, you've worked. So in the beginning, so if we look at that system there, David, of you enrolling in your student, what you want to have is the system detailed step by step, and you need to go through it, and that really, it's like learning a song. So you writing out a song, scoring the song, and then being able to give that score to somebody else, and then be able to read it and play it like it should be played. That's what you're doing. So you're going through and you're actually composing the system, and then what you're going to do is you're going to fill out your form when you do a new student, and all you're going to do is grab your iPhone, bang, grab this guy, and go snap, bang, send it to them via email, and then they take care of the rest of it. So it's taken you an extra 60 seconds from the time that you've enrolled them, and the rest of it should get done. Now, if you want to, in the early stages, you want to follow up, make sure it gets done. Maybe do a follow-up call with the student and just say, did you get your confirmation email? Are all the details great? I will get them to CC you into the email, so you know that you're in the system as well, so you can check the email, make sure it's all working right. And then you're free of that. That's something that's, I don't know how much time it's taking, but if it's taking a couple of hours a week to do, there's a couple of hours a week that you have now free, which gives you another couple of hours to work on the next system. And see, this is where it actually, you start to leverage, because you've just freed up 2 hours a week for yourself, which now gives you, let's say you've only got 2 hours to develop systems right now based on the amount of time that you've got. By freeing up 2 hours, now you've got 4 hours to develop systems, and then you go 8 hours, et cetera, et cetera. So it starts to really leverage over time. But you need to start small and just systemize something, anything. Systemize the smallest thing. I will actually take it beyond that to your personal life as well. And I don't know if you have a menu planner or anything like that, or how much time you spend cooking or shopping or any of those kind of things. But if you can get, because I do that as well. I systemize that side of it, so I know what I'm eating on certain days. Sure, sometimes I throw out the menu planner and have something whatever, but but it's there for me to rely on to know that these are the things that we need. My wife does the shopping, and we've got these things in the fridge and the cupboard, so I know we can easily whip up this because we've got the things that we need. And that saves a lot of time. So we're not sort of going shopping and randomly pulling things off shelves and then, you know, thinking at 5 o'clock, oh, what are we going to have for dinner, and trying to work it out. We know what we're going to have for dinner. It's all planned. Anything where you can see time saving, and not just for you, for your family, think of your family as a team, and then you're all working together to build your business. Because ultimately, David, what you want, and what all you guys want if you've got a partner, is that you want to be in a position where your partner doesn't have to work. Because what you're working towards is financial freedom. And there's no point in you being financially free if your other half has got to work all the time. If they're a full-time employee, you want to get to a point where you go, well, you can work if you want, but you don't have to, you know, because, you know, I'm pulling in $1 million a year, so, you know, it's up to you if you want to work. But don't do it for the money, do it for the love. So that's where you're aiming. You're aiming to free it up for not just yourself, but your whole family, because that's really, you know, why we do it. So look at anywhere you can systemize your life and really free up your time. But let's go back and we'll work on some more, because this is such an important area that if you can work on these things. So Ben, have you got any systems in place now?
Almost. I'd say yeah, maybe. For the social media, I decided to do the scheduling. I've done it once, and that's done until the 5th of July. So within the next week, I was thinking next Sunday, I was going to go through the next month and do that, and just do that monthly. So that's a system. And the way I've been doing that is with Mac Mail, you can set up a rule that if you put a certain subject heading, or just the subject, that will automatically put it in a mailbox. So I've done FB July, FB July, FB July on anything I find when I'm just browsing through Facebook. And that provides me with a number of shares, which means that on the Sunday I only have to come up with like the tips of the week and this and that. And I've got a rough weekly schedule, so it's the same thing on each day, and then you just have to come up with a couple of things and then find a couple of shares. And then Wednesday is my day of something that's actually fresh, so find something on the day and do that.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is where we as a group, you know, and this is really what networking is all about. And this is the power of our network. Is we need to sort of help each other here. We all, so, you know, if you're going to the trouble of finding good things to post, then if you were to share that right across the network, so we're all
happy to do that.
Yeah, great, and that way, you know, we all save time, because instead of, you know, you guys doing the same thing, you know, spending, you know, an hour or two a week finding decent posts to put on your Facebook page, if you find one, sure. But if we sort of, and I'm not saying that we need to do this, Ben, but just to sort of give you an idea of where we're going, because I don't want to load all this onto you. But if we found a good post and we just automatically emailed it to Ben, if everybody just automatically sent it to Ben, then Ben could, then you take that post and post it on his Facebook page, the best ones. He could organise it, sort it, and paste the best ones, and then all we have to do is go to his Facebook page and share those posts. So that way we're all leveraging time. So we're not having to do that. But if you find a good post, try and find some posts, and try and, if you come across things, but then we need to return the favour. So everybody within the network is doing different things to help to actually return the favour. So we're all building this network of resources. This is really what I'm about, is that what we want to do is draw together all the resources and energy, because if you think about it, if we're all doing the same thing, like you guys, I'm a little bit different in my position, but let's say you guys are all doing the same thing, it's kind of, it almost defeats the purpose of the whole networking, because you know, it's like a whole bunch of people living in a big house and they're all going out and doing their own shopping. Why not just give one person the shopping list and they go and do all the shopping, and bring back all the food that you need, and it's all there. And that's what we need to do. We need to do a lot more of that so that we can really save time. And that's kind of, my role is really to orchestrate that, is to sort of say, okay, what are the things that we can bring together? Yes, Ben. Yep.
Just with that Facebook thing, I was thinking maybe if we have another group that we're all members of, that could be the G4 Facebook group, and then if we just put them all in there, that lets, because if I share it all on my page and then you only share that rather than having your own, thanks Alex and Ben, or having your own like original posts, isn't that one of the things that Facebook looks at? If you're only sharing the stuff, then you don't get the value.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So maybe we need
to them in a group. You can post to a private group, can't you? You can just share it to that group, even if it's going on the phone.
What I'm thinking actually is to maybe have it. This is the ideal. Is to maybe have it so that we have a place where we sort of, you grab a post, like a picture, let's say, because Facebook, you need photos, you need some kind of picture of some description, or caption or thing, otherwise, nobody really looks at it. And then you have a link to somewhere, whatever it is. Then we can dump it somewhere. Like I've already got a whole list of them, and we could just dump it to, say, an Evernote, or into a folder or whatever, and then rather than having to take the one that you just published, they can just go through and pick out whichever ones they want. So you know what I mean? We have this kind of depository where we all put those posts, and then you can go through and pick whichever ones you want and post them. Or you can, again, we can get someone in the Philippines to go and put them on. So instead of you doing it and scheduling it, you create a schedule of what kind of post you want. We categorize each post. So we say this post is a a blog on for parents, or this post. So you have those different categories. This one is a quote. This one's a whatever. And then we sort of build up that whole sort of bank of. I'm not absolutely clear on the best way to do it, but I think that it's just something that we can work on.
I think that sounds good.
Okay.
If we get the Evernote thing, we can first put up our ideas for a weekly schedule. So I'll give you my weekly schedule, and then we can see if anyone has any other ideas. Try and find a good one, or maybe we can change it a little bit. But then each of those days can be the tags that we put on each one. So it can be a whole notebook of Facebook things, and then each note can be tagged with the title of what it is actually about. But then the tags will be tip of the week, or random share, or video, things like that.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then you can go in and just with a tag say I want something on teaching kids, and
sort by the date uploaded, and you get the most recent and fresh content.
Exactly. And I've already got an Evernote note, so I can just add it to our existing Evernote, and then you guys got that. There's already probably 150 on there already. There's quite a lot. And we can go through and tag them, and then any of you guys can tag them. Or if really just so you guys know for the moment, and I might let someone else in, but I've just got Ben and myself on the knowledge base, just so if we open it up to everybody, it could get confusing and things could get deleted and lost. So really, if you just if you see something, just let us know. Just stick a note on Facebook saying, I think that particular thing should be tagged with this or whatever, and we'll get it done. But really, I don't want you doing a lot of that stuff anyway, because I want really my whole goal here is to reduce your work, not increase your work. So when we see things, and we have ideas, then Sizer, we can teach her how to do it, and then she can go in and do those kind of things. And so here's the thing: is this. With Sizer, she's great. She's just I hired a few different people from the Philippines, and she's just been brilliant. But what she can do now is that I can get her to train someone else how to build the website, so that then frees her time up. So I don't need to train the next person. She can use the system, but she can train them as well, and that's also again delegating the system. And that's how, if we go back to the Tesco kind of idea. You know, the guy who owns Tesco doesn't go down and train every staff member that comes. You know, that's what managers and, you know, training sessions and all the rest are for. So that's where we might get to the point where if you know, you guys hire a new teacher, then you don't have to train them. You know, as I see it, as we grow, as we get bigger and bigger, then we have a full training facility. We can start online where they actually have go with a professional trainer. You can see already Emma is training you guys in sales, because, you know, Emma knows everything I know about sales. She's a brilliant salesperson, and she's actually probably done more than me, because she was the one answering the phone for the last 14 years. So I can now delegate it to Emma, knowing that she's doing an amazing job. And this is really what we want to do, is we want to have someone in place for all you guys. So you bring a new teacher in, and then they go through the system. So you're not having to worry about that. Again, you know that they're going to be trained. They're going to go through the system. At the moment, you guys are kind of have to do it as you grow, because we're not big enough yet, but we will. We'll get there. Ben Messenger, what would you? What's something that you would have systemized or would like to systemize?
Personally, I think the main thing was the thing that David and Ben mentioned, was the emails. That I'm at the moment using a Gmail account, and I'm physically copying everything, changing Bob's name to John, changing 10:30 Tuesday to 11 o'clock Friday, and even though I've only done a handful, I can see already as that gets bigger, that's going to be a real pain, you know, as it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And on the flip side of that, I've seen the value in just looking at the website. When I went on my own Guitar Lesson Stockport website and saw the blogs and the videos, that's nothing. I haven't done a single thing. That's all already there.
Yeah.
You know, I think the probably week and a half I spent on my crappy own little website, which is fine, and I had to do it to learn how to do it. But when I look at the two, and I'm thinking, God, I've spent no time at all. I've just sent you an email with some details, and I've got this great website just all there. You know, even in terms of the content, it's all done. It's brilliant. So I can see how systemizing stuff works. Personally, like I say, at the moment, for where I'm at, it's the email thing that gets a little bit. But I must admit, I don't mind at the moment. Don't mind doing that. I like that little bit of control, knowing that everything's spelt correctly, everything's worded how I want it to be worded. I'm making sure I've spelt Bob's name right and I've got his time correctly. That will be, in the future, difficult for me to let go of that, because I still want to make sure, to me that's very important, the communication has to be spot on. So although I'll need to let it go at some point, it'll be hard to do that, because I like to make sure that's all correct, you know.
Yeah. So what if we had, just as, you know, as an idea, and this is not something yet, but it's something that I can see that we can do very easily, and that is that for every student you enroll, you do exactly the thing that I talked about before. You fill out your form, and then you snapshot it, and then you send it to Sizer in the Philippines, and then she processes everything for you from there. She does the email, does the whole thing, right? We have to get this into a system, but then you've got to pay, I don't know, a couple of dollars for every one that she does. So because she's got to be paid, but because her rate of pay isn't expensive, if it's a couple of dollars, you think, well, you know, I'm earning $100 an hour teaching. I don't really want to be spending half an hour doing this when I can get it done for a couple of dollars. So this is, and right now, like I say, you might not quite be ready for that, especially for those guys who are just starting their businesses. But if we get all that in place as a system, then it becomes very easy to do. And then you will need to do it. So if you enroll, let's say, you know, the business is going well and you enroll 10 students in a week, and you're paying $2, that's $20 to get all your enrollments done. All you've had to do is fill out the form, send it off, and then the emails get done from there. So that's one idea. And it's also a way of sort of bringing more consistency as well, because if she's sending out the emails, then it really needs to be systemized so that every email that goes out has to be more or less the same. Otherwise, you know, you can't be doing things that are just going to confuse people. You can't have anything on the email that doesn't apply to everybody. It's got to really be that way. But you can also have a comment section. We could also just have a form where, you know, instead of filling out that form, the paper form, you could fill it out on a computer, on an iPad or whatever. So that way, you know, it all gets done quicker. Really, the way it's going to go to is voice, to where everything will be done by voice anyway. So you could record the whole phone call, and you know, or at least the enrollment section of it. Okay, great, let's get you enrolled. First, I just need to ask a couple of questions. Name, blah blah blah. This is what they do with the phone companies. Right? The phone companies, they actually record, voice record, what goes on as they set up the system. So that voice recording could then be sent straight across. So you don't write anything, and then it gets done from there. So once we know the problems in the system that we're trying to build, we're going to solve them a lot faster together than if you guys are just battling with it, and especially if you're not raising it. And that's really what we want these sessions to be about, raising where it is that you're getting bogged down. Okay. Does anyone want to throw any comments on that while we're on it? I know there's a lot of typing going on there. Yes, Ben. All right. So, sorry, Ben first, and then Alex.
Yeah, just a quick one, David. I'm seeing it in the music school that I work at the moment, where it relies on us filling the forms out correctly. You know, that's the main thing. We have to make sure that we're a little bit robotic, and that you get the name, you get the age, you get the address, you get all that correct, so when you send it to Sizer, she can easily take that, and she's not emailing back and to saying, what's this guy's name, and you've missed this guy's age off, and you've missed off this. So it does rely on us being a little bit more, you know, systematic in our approach, but it'll work. It'll work absolutely fine.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, there will come a time when, you know, again, this is the bigger vision. There will come a time when you guys won't even be doing the enrolling. The calls will go to a call center with people who are highly trained. If we're real lucky, by Emma. From there. Sorry, Ben. Yep.
Yeah, just quickly, I've copped out recently. I've had nearly 20 inquiries, and I've only converted 5. Who's the best salesperson I know? It's my mum. So I've said to Mum, this weekend, go back through all those people I haven't converted and do what you can. And I may find that I may just pay my mum to answer the phone and do all that stuff. Yep. You know, because I know it's something that I need to work on.
Yeah.
Nice one, Emma. It's something I need to work on. Do you know what I mean? But it's she's able to do it. You know.
Look. Some people just have skills. We all have different skills because, you know, especially as you get older, you have a certain set of skills. You know, for both Emma and I, we started in retail sales. You know, my parents had shops, and Emma worked in a hardware shop when she was back in the UK when she was quite young, and so we had that early retail start. So those were things, and I even took it for granted. I didn't even realise that I had these skills. I started doing, you know, selling newspapers and fish and all sorts of stuff when I was a little kid, and then working in shops right through my childhood. And then it was only when I worked for a big company and I was, you know, the number one salesman in the company right across the country that I realised, hey, I've actually got a skill here. I didn't realise it. So it's when you get out into the kind of from the pond into the ocean that you realise, you know, where you stand amongst things. But everybody has different skills, so if you know someone who can really sell, get them to do it, because, you know, I often use the example of Richard Branson. Richard Branson, he can't read a P&L sheet, he can't read a balance sheet, he doesn't know anything about accounts. The guy has no clue about it. He's dyslexic, right? He really doesn't understand that kind of stuff. He leaves it to other people. What he knows is how to get cheap publicity and how to get people fired up around an idea. That's what he knows. So I'll just switch to Alex because Alex wanted to ask a question before. Alex, go.
Yeah, I was just going to say I can really appreciate the idea of, you know, systemizing some of those things, like I've recently started systematizing the cleaning routine in my shop. I got a little like A4 thing, and just wrote down all the jobs that needed to be done. Recycling, carpet cleaning, everything, and then like James just comes in and does it like every week, and he'll write down, he'll date it, and just go, yep, that's all done. Didn't do the recycling this week because X. And I'll go, right, okay, he'll do that. But I can really see like just having a sheet for enrollments and just writing everything down there, and then just like putting it in a pile, and then saying to whoever, this is your job. Just put all these into the computer, into the online section, and so I can really see the value in it for sure.
Great example. So what we really want to do is share what we're getting done. So Alex, if you have a cleaning roster, it'd be great if you could take a photo of that and put it up onto the Facebook group. Yeah, just so the other guys can see it. Jochen put up his top 3 board the other day. It would be really good if we could almost have a bit of a competition where we sort of design the best looking one, and then everyone can copy it and use it. Whatever we think looks cool, whatever works. The different ways of doing that. I just did them on A4 sheets, and here's Jochen got this big board which looks fantastic. So yeah, it's really about sort of we're kind of upping each other here, but that's okay because we're all going to benefit from it. Everybody's going to do well from someone sort of going one step higher on them. And it's from the point of view of the systems that what I want you to try and do is even suggest a system that you're working on into the Facebook group. We really make a focus on developing these systems. Then other people can sort of contribute and go, well, I already have a system for that, or this is what I do. And sometimes you'll create a system that's not needed. There's a way around it completely. And this is where I see a lot of the time is that teachers getting caught in the details, and it's like you don't need the details. The details are unnecessary, and I do see that a lot in things like teaching. We should have this, or we should have that. What if we have a sheet for this or a sheet for that? Well, you don't need it. You're kind of sometimes looking for problems that aren't really there. The problem might be more to do with just your general communication, your general organisation, whatever, rather than I've got any specific examples right now, but if I see them, sometimes I'm cautious about sort of saying anything because I don't want to offend anybody. But there are times when there are certain things that people are looking for that aren't necessary. Okay, so I'll just actually let's bring Emma into the conversation because she's here. Emma, can you hear me? Guessing yes, otherwise you would be sitting there.
Yes.
Can we hear you? So, Emma? What suggestions for a system would you have?
I would systemize your following up your inquiries. So just have a particular. We were talking the other day about having a spreadsheet that's color-coded for different stages of the inquiry process. So I was saying to the guys that they used to come through the website and they'd appear on our spreadsheet, so people could enter their own details on the website. Then they'd come up, they'd pop up on the spreadsheet, and I'd go, oh, there's a new one, and I'd know it was new because it was automatically, the cell was grey. And then once I had sent them an email, I would turn the cell white, or when I called them, I would turn it green, and obviously you could look at it and see, oh, that's green, that means I need to talk to them. So really easily you could look and see who was at what stage of the process.
Yeah.
And obviously not too many colours because it got too confusing. And then just a comment field at the beginning for what you'd said, where you're at, what stage of the process they were at, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Right, so follow-ups is like a follow-up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments too. Like Ben said, it hasn't got enough colours, and then LOL, maybe I'll leave it as it is. You don't want too many colours because you're going to forget what your colours mean. You don't want a colour for it's for a girl. You don't want a colour for it's a 7-year-old. You just want to make contact, have to follow up, booked in, basically. Keep it as simple as possible. And I guess in the big scheme of things, if we're all doing the same thing and we all have the same colour coding, down the track when it's one central place looking after inquiries, that's going to make it much easier.
Yeah, great. Because we went through, just so you guys know how far we go back, we went through where we had a system, and I think Emma was around then, of tracking the students, where it was all done on paper, and we just had a rubber, and we'd rub out on the paper the student's name, if they changed times or whatever. But what happened is that there was a point there when Excel came out. I actually was on Lotus in the beginning, and then I went to Excel. But when Lotus came out, I started toying with it, and then what I did is I started putting the student on the spreadsheet, and that was kind of upping the system, going to the next level. And then we sort of stuck with that for a long time, and it, really the timetables I give you are still based on the same idea. But we can keep developing these things. We can keep looking at ways. If you guys have come up with different ideas for organising your timetable and running your timetables, then share them if you think that they're an improvement on what we've got, because we do want to keep improving that. Let me go to something that I know affects all of you, and that is your accounts. How are you guys doing your accounts? Let me start with Alex. How are you doing your accounts?
Let me see. My accounts are tied in with my current student list. I basically have a coding that's...
You're using a spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's a spreadsheet. And then I've also got just a back of the envelope P&L that I do every Thursday. I haven't done it today, actually, but yeah, and I just use that to keep the accounts going, but it could definitely use some work,
Okay, cool. You got a spreadsheet? All right. Ben A, what are you using for doing your accounts? I know you're only starting, so probably using a spreadsheet.
I'm also on a spreadsheet, yeah. I've got just a few colours coding that, so things like regular payments, so the G4 subscription, kind of one-off payments like chairs for the studio, so not exactly one-off, but, and then just income, outcome, income and outgoing, just as standard things that, not worth colour coding.
Yeah. Okay, cool. No worries. Okay, Ben, send your message there. Yes, you remember Lotus 123? Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, same as Ben A, to be honest, with regards to money coming in. Obviously, PayPal tracks it all, which is brilliant. So actually, in terms of actual real money, that will never get lost because it's all on the PayPal account. With regards to tying that into individual students, I've got student names down the left-hand side of the spreadsheet. Then I've got the week beginning, so week beginning Monday across the top. And then whenever they pay £59, I'll put £59 in box 1. And then, because they pay for a month in advance, I'll put paid week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, whatever, in the following boxes. So every 4 or 5 weeks there'll be a new 59, and they'll pay for the week. With regards to expenses, I've got an accountant already, so it's a little bit more haphazard. I keep a note of everything on my bank statements. Everything's there. I use the same bank card, so I can see my statements. That bank account now is only for business expenses, nothing else. So everything's there, and I give that to him every year. So I'm quite fortunate where I can just hand that over to my accountant, and he does my tax returns and all that side of it.
All right, great. David, what are you using for your accounts?
I use Excel, so I just have outgoings, income, then I have a list of like the pupils and the dates when the PayPal comes out, just to make sure everyone's paid, and once they do that, then I kind of tick that. And so I have maybe 3 different sheets, so one for PayPal, one for income, and one for expenditure and outgoings.
Okay, cool. All right. I'll skip you, Emma, because I know you're using Xero. Michael?
Yeah, sorry, I had to walk away for 2 minutes. Is this just for accounting, or is this for student details?
Yeah, just accounting. What are you using to manage your account?
Yeah, I'm just using a spreadsheet basically. Just each month I have a list of the expenses itemized in the categories, and then I mean income is all off PayPal really, so that that's all listed there. So
okay, great. All right. Well, you guys are all using spreadsheet. Emma's. I'm going to give Emma 5 minutes just to talk about Xero, and then I'm going to talk about QuickBooks. Now, you guys are just starting out. You can operate on your spreadsheet. That's fine, because these things cost money. You don't need to spend the money until it's using up more of your time. If you've got the cash flow coming in, really I'm talking $50 a month. If you've got $50 a month, it's over and above your profit, over and above the sea level, so to speak. In other words, you're not going to drown. Then you need to spend that on an accounting software program. I use QuickBooks Online. It had a major upgrade just recently, and Xero was sort of ahead of the game. I don't know where Xero is now, but Emma will sort of bring us up to date. I do know that QuickBooks is absolutely fantastic now. But anyway, Emma, give us 5 minutes. Go.
Yeah, cool. Basically, I started using Xero pretty much straight away when I started taking Zumba, just tracking everything, and also I was still, actually when I had the school as well. So you can send out, I think you can have 25 clients free before you have to pay any fees to Xero. But once you get over 25 customers, then you can have different packages. I have a few Zumba members who pay a fortnightly fee, and I just set up a recurring invoice, so you could do that for all your students. You can also link it to your bank account and PayPal, so it will automatically update your PayPal payments. If you've got invoices set up for those students, it will automatically look at GoBlogs. Oh, look, there's a payment for GoBlogs, and then you just reconcile it against each other. I do my accounting probably once a week, so I can stay on top of it. And as I said, you can import your bank statements from most, here in Australia, most of the big banks. If they don't do an automatic import, you can actually do it manually and import your statement. It's really, really, really easy. You can set up your own chart of account, so you can say, whether it's for car expenses, office expenses, printing, whatever it is, and then you can set up different kinds of income. So you might set up a code for 5-week intro, then you might set up a code for monthly group fees. And I probably only spend half an hour a week on it. And I've got a lot going in and out, and if I do it once a week, it probably takes me half an hour, and it's so easy. And then at the end of the tax year, you can print out, for those guys that are in Australia, you can print out a business activity statement if you need to. You can do your profit and loss statement from it. You can do your expense report. You basically everything at the press of the button. And I think I pay, as David said, about $50 a month. But it saves me hours and hours and hours, and everything's there. So yeah, that's it really. It's easy.
Great. I actually was
Alex,
sorry, go. Yep.
Alex just asked how I learned it. It's so easy. I just learnt it by doing it.
Did I recommend it to you, or did you find it yourself? I can't remember.
I'd like to say you recommended it, but I think I found it myself.
Yeah, I can't remember because I was using it when you were.
Yeah.
Before you started it, I was on Xero. I really
like that you can set up a recurring invoice. So if you've got your students that are set up on their monthly subscriptions, even though it comes through on PayPal and you know that they're paying monthly, if you set it up on Xero as a monthly subscription, every time that payment goes through to PayPal, it will just match it up, and then you just click yes, reconcile. That's what you're saying it is, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Something that I don't know if you guys in the UK know, but Emma's father is. What does he do, Emma? He's a tax.
He's a VAT consultant. So he used to actually work for Customs and Excise as one of the bad guys, going in and doing VAT inspections and catching people out. And then he started working for a big firm of accountants, and then left and now works for himself. His specialty is, at the moment, his specialty is working with English language schools. So there's lots of little loopholes in the law that he can help them with and save them money. So yeah, he's very good at what he does, and basically tries to save people VAT. So I don't know where you guys are at with your VAT, but he can help save you money if you need to.
Well, what I'm thinking, Amber, is maybe further down the track at some stage, maybe for the guys in the UK, especially as we sort of bring some more guys on board, maybe we could get your dad, throw a bit of money in and get him to come and actually do a talk about, because as your business grow, you need I don't pay a lot of tax. I don't avoid tax. I don't do anything illegal. But when you understand the tax laws and what you can and can't do, owners don't pay a lot of tax. It's just the way the economy runs. People in jobs pay the most tax. Most tax comes from jobs. Sorry.
When I travel to the UK, when I come to the UK and we have our G4 international convention, we can get my dad to come and do a talk.
Fantastic. That'd be great, because it's going to make a lot of difference to you guys in your earnings. You turn over £100,000 a year, and you've got to pay. That puts you in. I don't know about in the UK, but in Australia, it puts you in the top bracket of paying basically half of what you earn goes to the government. If you're in a job, that's just the way it is. You can't get out of it when you're in a job. If you're in a business, you will end up paying about 10% of that. Maybe even less, maybe zero. So understanding the tax law is really important if you want to make money. Where I got this from is a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. If you've never heard of any of his stuff, he did the Rich Dad Poor Dad books. Have a listen to him. Very smart guy, very rich guy, and he talks very much about understanding the tax laws and knowing how to do this. Now, the thing you have to understand about this is, the kind of the mentality sometimes is, everyone should pay tax. Everyone, big companies, businesses are ripping off the country by not paying the tax. It's actually not true. The way that the reason the tax laws are set up the way they are is because businesses actually stimulate the economy. Without small businesses, the economy would be dead. We'd be in real trouble without it. It's small businesses that keep the economy going. Small businesses keep money moving. They hire people. They just keep the economy happening. It's the small businesses that do it. And governments know this, and they know if they tax you too heavily and they don't make it, keep your tax low, then you're not going to survive. And they would literally wipe out all the small businesses if they came in with these heavy laws making everybody pay, 50% of their income. And that's why they have all these laws that make it attractive to be in business. Because there used to be a time when there weren't many businesses, especially small businesses. And so they made these laws to attract people into it, but they actually got more generous as time went by. But they actually started taxing workers higher and higher to make up for the surplus. And that's why the government gets all the taxes from these other areas, but they don't actually take it from small business owners, because the small business owners are so important for the economy. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown. Did any of you guys have any questions for Emma on Xero? So you covered the price. Any other questions? Yeah, Ben?
I put up earlier, if one of us does get it quite soon, could we maybe do a video hangout with a couple of screen shares? And if we record that, that means anyone who gets it after that can just go, oh, okay, there it is, there it is, there it is. Because I'm sure all our expenses are basically the same payments, just to and from different people.
Definitely. Yeah. Emma? Sound good? Share microphone's muted. Yeah. I'm not sure if she realized. Yeah, sorry.
I just talked to myself. They do an online tutorial too, so
okay,
it's pretty,
cool, that sounds good.
There's a lot of support. Yeah, you can click on basically anything and type anything in, and there's lessons on it.
Yeah, and look, if you wanted to ask a quick question, yeah, throw it in the Facebook group and just sort of say, hey, I'm not quite sure how to do this. And if you want those kind of answers, or if you think it's specific to G4, or just compare what does everyone else do in this case. Where do you put this expense? What do you put this expense under? Or can I claim this magazine that I bought that has nothing to do with guitar or whatever. So just any questions you have, put them up, and that way. Even though you guys are still using spreadsheets now, and that's okay, you will have to go across to using one of these systems because it's going to just make your business run smoothly. And if you're spending more than, really, as Emma was saying, about half an hour a week, let's say an hour at this stage because you're still kind of building issues. If you're spending more than an hour a week doing your accounts, it's time to move over to a software program. Now, remember that there's the leveraging of these programs on the internet is massive, and so the technology and the upgrades and all the stuff behind the scenes is just priceless. It's literally worth millions of dollars, the development that's behind it. Now, to give you a quick idea of QuickBooks, just so I'll tell you some of the quick advantages, really much the same as what Emma said there. It wasn't quite that, it wasn't doing PayPal before, but now it does PayPal, so that's all good. It basically brings all my accounts in, every single account, PayPal, everything, that all comes in, and what it does is it learns, it gets smarter. So once I have an expense, say electricity, and I put that expense in, it automatically knows that that's electricity every time a charge comes from that particular supplier. So I don't have to do that. All I have to do when I go through is just add it. So I actually look down. I go down as the bank. It automatically imports each bank account. So I go there and it will say 20 more transactions came in since I last checked. And then all I do is I go down the transactions and I click add, add, add. And when you first start doing it, say you get your electricity charge, it won't know that that's what it's supposed to go into. So you actually have to, in the beginning, you have to click on it and you have to tell it that is that account goes to electricity. But then the next time it knows. So you don't need to do it again. The next time it will already be there. And so you're just literally going to go add, add, add. And the more you use the program, then the less you're going to actually have to be doing anything at all. And it automatically brings it in. So I'm at a point now where if I go and check it, let's say, with your guys' payments and all my expenses and whatever, in a month, 100 to 200 transactions will come through on my account, and all I need to do for all the sales from you guys, I don't even have to check them. I just click add all and go bang, because I know they're all sales. Because there's nothing unusual there. I will scan down it to see if there's anything that's sort of a standout, but then it's very quick for me to do. Now, as far as people who should have paid you but didn't pay you, so that's what PayPal is for. PayPal should alert you when you've got someone on a subscription that the subscription hasn't gone through, or that they've cancelled. You should get an email saying that's cancelled. So you really don't have to be checking all your payments and checking every single one off. They should come through, and even though in the early stages you do want to be checking them, make sure once that starts, you kind of have some confidence in it. It should be fine. Now the other thing, one little feature that's come up with QuickBooks, which I like, is that it tells me how much money has come in the last 30 days and how much in expenses I've incurred in the last 30 days. It comes up on the main screen, which is great because it's almost like a speedometer in that it's telling me, hey, you've spent more in the last 30 days than you normally spend. So if I look at it and go, oh, that's more than I would spend in a month, I know roughly what my monthly expenses are. If I see more in a month, then that sets off an alarm. So then I will go back and have a look to see, and then I go, oh, okay, I had a big charge with this company or that company. So that's where it starts to make sense. And the opposite is true as well. If you see, oh, that's low this month, the last 30, I haven't spent much at all. Something right. So you get a feel for it. You get to know what's coming through. And it's the same with your income as well. You know roughly how much income should be coming in in the last 30 days. And this is what's great about G4 and the whole setup is having people on monthly subscriptions. You should be getting roughly the same amount each month, or actually it should be increasing every month. So every month you should be able to look at your income or the last 30 days, and it really should be about right. But if it's not, it means something's wrong. There's an error in there. So if I know there's let's say for round numbers that you've got $10,000 a month coming in, and then you're looking at it and it says the last 30 days you only had 7,000 come in, you go, hang on, something's missing there. Then you go back and you look and you go through it and see, that charge didn't work or something happened there, there was a mistake. So I really like that feature. That's one. Now the other thing I can do is I can actually set up things like reports and standard reports. So you can have, and you can do this in Xero of course as well. But you just have particular, so you don't have to go and set up the report every time. You just have a report that's standard, and then you just have a button, you click on it, and it just shows you, what your profit and loss is for whatever period that you want to be looking at. And it's the automation of it all. And really the next stage that it's going to get to, as this kind of AI comes into play, smart, we're talking about smart at the moment, but AI will be the next stage. But these systems are going to get to the point where you will do nothing. There will literally be nothing for you to do. It'll all be done, and it'll just send you a report. Yes, Ben?
You mentioned Tesco before. I don't know if you guys have, is it Coles? Is Coles like your sort of
Coles,
Tesco's?
Yeah.
Do you have a loyalty card with them guys?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously you're aware, Davey, but it amazes me that people think that loyalty card is a nice way to you save money. It isn't. They can track every single penny you spend. I got a little booklet through with a load of vouchers saying 30 pence off this and 10% off that, or stuff that I bought over the last 3 months that even I've forgotten I bought from Tesco. But they knew, because it was on my loyalty card statement, that if he buys bananas every week, we'll give him 10% off his next purchase of bananas.
Yeah.
And they've got all your data there, all that we talked about building a database. That's what it's for.
Exactly. They're collecting information. And it's funny that you raised that. Just a kind of a quick thing that I saw not long ago was that they've been collecting all this data, and what they're doing is that based on things that you buy, they put it into a system, into a computer system, and it works out what your next purchases are likely to be, and what kind of things you're interested in. So people who are buying new kind of homewares, fitting out their apartment or whatever, they know you've just moved into a new apartment, so you would like this. So they send you a special catalogue with things that are just for you. It's been customised.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Oh, look, what a great catalogue. It's got all the things I want. But what happened?
I got a voucher through for an offer on a load of batteries.
Right.
I've not bought batteries. I bought a radio.
Yeah.
I bought a battery-operated radio, and they thought he's bought a radio. Maybe I'll need batteries next month. I got vouchers through for batteries. It's without even doing a thing, without even speaking to a person, it knows.
It knows. Yeah. It's almost like you look behind you. Is someone stalking me? How does this thing know? But this is the hilarious story, and it's a true story. What happened is that they sent a catalogue to home, and the catalogue was all about pregnancy stuff. And the father of the house, he said, "What are you sending me this rubbish for? No one in my house is pregnant." And he got really angry, and they apologised and said, "We're really sorry. It must be a mistake. It just sent it to you." Next thing, he found out his daughter was pregnant. And so it'd be tracking the daughter spending behaviour. So that it's had all. So and yeah, they were quite upset, of course, because they knew about his daughter being pregnant before he did. So it is a little bit scary, but it's sorry, just to come back on track with the idea of your system is that when you do click into these systems, even though these things can seem a little bit freaky, it's actually learning about you and your business. So it's coming up with solutions for your business. And that's what the accounting software is all about, is that that as you put more and more transactions through, it understands your business better and makes it run more smoothly. So that gets you doing it less and less and less. And look, I have to admit that when I first, because I was on Xero, and then I went from Xero, I actually switched off Xero when I sold schools because I came down to this kind of, when I was doing the network and I didn't need sort of so much to do. I could do it on a spreadsheet. I've done it many times before, and I was very comfortable on a spreadsheet. But then I went back to, I took on QuickBooks, and at first it was, oh God, here we go, I've got to set up the accounts, got to do this, got to do that, and wouldn't accept PayPal and all the rest of it. But it's now that it's done the upgrade and everything's running smoothly, I couldn't go back now. I couldn't switch off from it. It's just amazing. Even if they double the price, triple the price, I really couldn't switch off from it. It just makes my life so easy because I literally can go on. I can go on for an hour a month and get everything done in 1 hour. So very, very exciting, and that's why that's a system that you want to look at. Okay, I'll go to Michael. Michael, have you got any systems that you have got in place or that you would want to have in place? Your microphone.
Yeah, sorry, just on your accounting thing, that's pretty much all I spend too, is about an hour. I spent many hours, however, developing this spreadsheet. So basically, every sheet has a new month, and I just fill in the expenses when I come home. I take the receipts in my wallet or whatever it is. I look at my bank statement. I fill in as I go all the expenses. The income is, as I said, it's all through PayPal. So all the tax department needs to know is your total, really. So you just grab your total from PayPal. So I've found it, it takes me, really the business side of it takes me about maybe 25 to 30 minutes a month. That's good. The other half of it is just all the personal expenses, really. That's what takes the time, adding up all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. The other thing to consider, though, Michael, is that as you grow, of course, as your business, and you want systems that are going to allow you to grow, that won't sort of keep you, because even though now you're getting I'm gathering you're getting your bank statement, you're getting your receipts, and you're matching it up. Is that right?
Is this for income or?
For your expenses. So you get your bank statement, and you say you've got your petrol receipt, or your rent, or your the packet of pens that you bought at the shop. You then go match it all up with your bank statement. Is that right?
No, I don't really. I glance at it, but because I do it as I go, as I said, every day I come home, and if I have bought something, then or as I buy it, I just put it straight away. So I'll glance at it, but it's all done as I go, sort of thing. So yeah, it takes me about 5 minutes, because I wouldn't buy. Obviously, if I pay rent, that's an expense. But if I go to Officeworks and that's all on one receipt.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, there's not really.
Yeah, so because you're running a good system, for you now, no problem. I wouldn't have an issue with that as well. Just plan to actually cross over though when you get to a certain size, because there will be a time when it's no longer convenient for you. That there's a lot of work in doing it. So we have a special guest, do we?
This is my special guest.
Hi, David.
Hello, how are you? We've seen the photos, we've heard the rumours, but
nice to meet you.
What's that?
Nice to meet you.
Yes, very nice to meet you too. Sorry. So, is there anything that you would want as a system?
At this point, no, I can't. I wasn't really prepared to sort of think about it. But I think at this point, I think that's something I'm pretty. I've got down pat over the years. There's not really anything that I haven't already worked out a system for. I think I'm pretty good. Yeah, but if I think about it, I'll ask for something.
I will say, just a bit of background on you for the other guys, is that you were very methodical right from the word go to ask lots of questions. You always had to do everything in a particular way. You always had to know how is it, and and that, I think that set you up really well. Really for you, it's really, I guess, just picking up the marketing and taking it to the next level, because you pretty well have all your systems in place, so which is great. So
yeah, sorry. Now that I think about it, yeah, it's having the marketing, the flyers system in place without me having to run it. So I've got someone who's working with me who, when I go out, she comes with me and I pay her to do it. But if I don't go out, she doesn't go out because she doesn't know. Like, yeah, she's not very good with maps. But yeah, so that's something I would like to have. I would like to have someone doing that, even if I can't do it. That'd be a system, but that's something that I just have to put in place. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So if you can look at just because it's not always that there's a problem. It's what we're trying to find is which part of our business needs to be kind of taken to the next level for us to go to the next level. And we shouldn't be afraid to go to the next level. That should be always what you're trying to do. And it's not about money. And this is something that's really important. It's about improving your work. This is what you do. This is really a statement about who you are and what you do. And you've got a great way of doing things, then you want to keep building on that, and other people with things as well within your business, other whatever. So okay, thanks, Michael. We're kind of getting to the end here. Does anyone else want to raise any topics? Any other questions on this? No, we're all good. All right. Well, we'll finish up there. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and I will see you next week.
Cool.
Thank
Go
you.
a second afterwards, David.
Sure, Ben. Yeah, no worries.
Cool. I was saying, do you have a second
Bye.
afterwards? Wait.